I like Jalen, who seems to be going through a little bit of an adjustment period these last couple of games. How do you, I guess, encourage him not to maybe overthink what he's doing and maybe more so just go within the flow of the game?
Yeah, he's gonna, I hope he's in an adjustment period for the next, several years. Because I think what that means is he's gonna continue to improve. And the biggest thing for him is, don't put any pressure on yourself. I think sometimes, obviously, the fact that he signed and is gonna be here, and everyone's excited about that. He doesn't have to prove anything to anybody. And Jalen, 22, sometimes I get confused, 21, 22, or 23, so I'll just choose 20. That means you got your whole basketball life ahead of you. And if he were a finished product right now, it's just not realistic. And I wouldn't want him to be. I want him to have an opportunity to get better. And going through, whether it's a game or a stretch, or that's how you get better, because you learn about yourself. And to the extent he could be, trying to process too much, sometimes you go through that and then realize it and you fight it. It's not easy, particularly when you have a kind of a burning desire to be better. It's easy for me to sit up here and talk about that kind of philosophically, and then you go out and compete, and you find yourself in a situation where you're not having as much success as you want. And, he's going to have both throughout the year. And I think the important thing, and this is the good thing about Jalen, is he is able to own everything. And then the biggest thing for me with him is just work. Just keep working. Keep getting better. And over time, when that happens, that's what ends up happening. That's how he's gotten to where he is.
Hey, Coach, just give us a preview of what you've seen from Washington so far, and what do you think how tonight will be?
Well, obviously they're a young team. I think maybe the youngest team in the league, and they're playing fast and they're playing hard. And it's a game where if you're not alert, getting back, they're going to run it right at you. And it's especially in a back-to-back game that you don't ever not come to play in a back-to-back, but we have to have an urgency tonight. And for us, I think as much as we're talking about a lot of these, the best approach for us, regardless of the opponent, is just to continue to try to improve. And that means focusing on habits. There's a lot of things that are kind of going on that we're trying to learn and get better, and every opponent gives you a chance to have a new look to do that.
I know you love talking about injuries, but with Onyeka, he's listed as injury management. Is that just a back-to-back thing for a while? How do you kind of plan to approach that?
Yeah, I think the best way for me to answer that is to say that that's our health performance department, and those things are always different from player to player, and so I would hesitate to set expectations one way or the other. I know he's doing a good job for us, and we know we want him to be at full strength, to be healthy, keep getting better, all that good stuff, and those guys will make those decisions, obviously, with Onyeka's input.
On that too, having Larry, I know that's not played yet, but is that it's not kind of luxury to have a guy like that as your third center?
Yeah, I mean, we had Larry played throughout the preseason, and obviously in training camp, and yes, I wouldn't call it a luxury. We're fortunate to have these situations where we have depth at that position. We've got a lot of depth at that position, and on some of these games, I know it's difficult for those guys to either not play or play less minutes. Guys always want to play more and try to be respectful of that. But, in my shoes, those are just hard decisions one way or the other every game.
Coach, what did you see from Zach last night, letting out the start?
I thought he, irrespective of whether he, you know, the minutes that he played, thought he was aggressive. The one thing to me that stood out last night is he had to take some challenges defensively, and you know, he really embraced that. So that, you know, I'll go back to the things we just talked about with Jalen. You know, I think for Zach, this is just a process of you know, figuring out how to get better, and these NBA games are going to continue that competition, and particularly last night, you know, some of the matchups that he's had, and he'll continue to have them. And there's not, you know, you don't sense any reticence on his part. He welcomes that, and I think he's also realistic about the fact that this is, you know, you're going to take your lumps every now and then if you're putting it out there. And a guy that loves to play and loves to compete kind of understands that and continues to fight through it.
Coach, it was really competitive last night for more than 3 quarters, but the box score this morning says it was a blowout.
Mm-hmm.
Does it matter, you know, when it ends up being a 24-point loss, when it was really, it didn't feel like a 24-point loss. It felt like maybe just let go of the rope a little bit there toward the end.
I think both are true. You know, I don't know you. I think you, as a coach at least, and hopefully the players too, recognize the things that you did during that stretch, particularly the first half. You know, where we didn't finish the second quarter well. And, you know, that hurt, but we bounced back from that, and I think we were ahead at the end of the third quarter. But it also says something about our ability to sustain that, and you know, you look at what you were doing that allowed you, you know, to be competitive, particularly, you know, with the score, and then the things that you didn't do that impacted that the other direction. And I think both are there to learn from, and you know, knowing what to do and being able to go out and do it against a team that, you know, I don't think you'd find any argument from anyone around the league that, you know, they may be the best team in the West right now. You know, they're a lot to handle, but we had some good things in how we guarded them, how we attacked them. And, you know, Trae Young's got to deal with probably 2 all-NBA first-team defenders throughout the course of his minutes, and you know, very aware of that. I thought Trae did a great job of, you know, competing, you know, throughout the game. There's some things when you look as fatigue sets in with our group, how can we help each other more? Our spacing broke down. There's a lot of things that happened that were bad, but hopefully we can look at it and understand the correlation between those things and the scoreboard. Good? Okay.